Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Frolic and Detour, where we talk about transformation, personal evolution, self development, and all that good stuff. Today's guest is Valencia Yearwood, who is an actress, director, and a Tony nominated producer. We talked about everything from Valencia starting off as a dancer at a very young age, to then deciding she wanted to be a doctor, to then going back to being a dancer, to then going into acting, commercial acting, Broadway acting. We really get into it. You're going to want to watch. Valencia Yearwood,
Sergio.
thanks for coming onto the podcast. You know, you're a
Good.
Cody Award nominated actress, producer, and director,
I am.
but you didn't start out wanting to do entertainment.
Well, that is true in terms of my educational
Okay.
journey. I actually started dancing as a child. I
Okay.
started dancing at 3 years old.
Mhm.
And, I grew up in Queens and I danced with Gloria Jackson Studio. Shout out to Gloria Jackson.
Okay.
But I also trained as a dancer at Dance Theater of Harlem as a child. And I never stopped dancing as a child.
Mhm.
I danced with the junior company at DTH. I also was a part of Marie Brooks Children's Dance Theater, Caribbean Dance Theater, and we traveled all over the Caribbean. We went to Africa, clearly here in New York.
Mhm.
But it was when I was in high school and I was looking for a Black woman gynecologist and I couldn't find one. And so, well, actually, it wasn't in junior high. It was in junior high school, not high school. And I said, being precocious as I was
Right.
like, well, you know what? I'll just become one.
Right.
So I ended up going to a specialized high school, Hillcrest High School in Queens, and it was a magnet school, and they had all these specialized programs. And one of the programs was a theater careers program, and another one of the programs was a pre-med program. They also had a nursing program where once you graduated, you were an LPN, you were licensed. They had a political science program. So anyway, long story short, I ended up dual majoring in the pre-med program and the theater careers program.
Okay.
So that's how, the schizophrenia.
Right. We all. Did the pre-med ever make sense to you? Was it ever in your heart, or did you always know this is just something I'm going to do because of that experience I had in junior high?
That's an interesting question. Nobody's ever asked me that question. I honestly thought that I was going to go to medical school. I knew that I was never going to stop dancing. And for me,
You're a dancing doctor?
well, yeah, and it's really interesting because one of my doctors is also a formal dancer right
Okay.
now.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But the two made sense because as a dancer, it was really important for me to know my body.
Mhm.
And I got my degree at Syracuse University in biology, and what better way to learn your body than to become a biologist,
Sure.
a physician. So the two always worked together for me. But I got the rude awakening when it was my junior year at Syracuse, and it was time to take the MCATs.
Okay.
And, I wasn't a straight A student. I'll say that freely. I
Mhm.
was not a straight A student in Syracuse. And I did okay. But the thought of taking those MCATs and having to do that again, be in that scientific environment again
Mm.
for another 12 years because I wanted to be a specialist, I just knew that it was a calling, but it wasn't mine.
Mm.
It was not my calling.
Yeah.
So, but I also knew that if I didn't finish my degree, that my parents would kill me.
Right.
So I went on and I got my degree with the knowledge and the knowing that I was not going to go to medical school, that I was going to pursue what really was my calling, which was dancing.
And well, right. So your family would have known that because they cultivated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So were they, I don't know, surprised at your initial decision to go the biology route, and were they supportive, knowing what they had known about you since the time that you were young?
Supportive in my pursuit of medicine, or my
yeah.
Oh, they were very
They
supportive.
were.
I mean,
Okay.
who doesn't want their child to be a doctor?
Right. Right.
Right? But they also were very nurturing of my artistic endeavors. To your point, I
Sure.
would never have done this as a child
Right.
if it wasn't for their support, right? I became a professional dancer at 15 years old.
Were you that
So,
young? Wow.
yeah, so I would have never been able to do that had they not supported that. So I was very thankful in that I had very forward-thinking parents who basically said, you do what you want to do.
Right.
We'll support you. You just need to make up your mind. Now, when I came home and told them I wasn't going to medical school, there was a moment.
I bet there was.
There was a moment where they said, you're going to give up medicine for dance? But because I had never stopped dancing.
Right.
And because actually, like I said, I turned professional when I was 15. So it wasn't like I was dancing for free. I mean, I was, but I wasn't,
Right.
And also because the university, Syracuse, actually, as a freshman, hired me through the physical education department to teach a ballet class. And that was part of how I paid my tuition. So, it wasn't like I didn't have a track record of actually being able to support myself in some way through my artistry.
In terms of what was your childhood like? I mean, I'm thinking if you're a professional dancer by age 15, you're in a lot of classes.
Absolutely.
You're giving up, I would imagine, a lot of things, maybe sports, maybe family time, maybe, I don't know, other recreational activities. So what was that like? And were you the only one in your family with the creative kind of edge?
So, no. My parents, they loved music. I grew up with jazz and Latin music and R&B, and my parents, we partied all the time. My parents argued all the time, but the one thing that they did do together well was party. Yes.
Okay.
So we gave great parties and they danced. My mother, she was a tap dancer as a kid. So she took classes as a kid and everything. My sister, I have a younger sister, and dance and everything was not her thing. But you are correct. I did have to give up a lot as a child. Sometimes I kind of feel like I didn't have a childhood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But that was because I knew what I wanted to do and I was very focused. But yeah, I mean, in middle school, I was going up to Dance Theater of Harlem 4 days a week.
Wow.
So it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after school, and then all day on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until high school where I really felt like I kind of got the after school stuff, right? So I was a cheerleader. I was senior class president. I was doing the morning announcements in high school. But yes, there definitely was some sacrifice. I was not that child that was able to wake up on Saturday morning whenever they wanted to and watch a whole bunch of cartoons. And, that just wasn't my experience. But what I got for what my experience was so much greater. I mean, again, I was traveling, as a preteen to Haiti for 5 weeks in the summer, so it was those types of things that were the trade-off for me.
Yeah, but it sounds as if, or at least you're telling me that was largely self-imposed. Like you wanted to do
Oh,
this, and so your
absolutely.
family supported it.
Absolutely.
Unlike a lot of parents that we've heard about,
Yeah.
including Michael Jackson, interestingly enough, who definitely had the talent. Obviously, he did really well. But it was, you hear the stories about his father pushing them too much,
Yes.
and them not being able to have much of a,
A
not much of
life.
a balance.
Much of, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, my parents weren't those
yeah.
parents. It was what I loved,
Mm.
so the whole family made sacrifices, Um, but yeah, I'm not as big as Michael either. So there's
You're
that.
not, please.
So there's that.
So tell me about, so you get to high school, and then we're gonna, move past that, but, or was it, I'm sorry, college, and you're studying biology. It's interesting that it took you up into the MCATs to figure out this isn't really what I want to do. I mean, did you feel at all out of place once you're like in biology, I don't know, 304 or whatever it is? I mean, because you're going to school with certain types of students.
Yes.
Students who are, this is all they want to do.
Yes.
This is everything they want to do, and they will give up whatever to do it. So did you feel any sense of being out of place earlier on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you did.
I did.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, Syracuse, although we like to say that Syracuse is, one of the blackest PWIs on the planet, you couldn't tell us.
Heard that. Was it before my time?
Well, you couldn't tell us, those of us that were on campus,
Okay.
with the sororities and the
Right.
fraternities and the
that's
Black
interesting.
Student
I had
Union.
never heard that.
You couldn't tell us that we weren't going to an HBCU.
Right.
Like, you couldn't tell us that.
Right.
Because of the support system and everything. But that didn't always carry over to the classroom. There were many times where we were the only ones in those classes. And yes, I don't remember seeing a lot of faces that looked like me in physics or organic chemistry. And so there was a sense that, this may not be what I really, really want to do,
Yeah.
particularly because I never stopped dancing.
Sure.
Even on campus, I sang with the choir, and I created the dance ministry that still exists today, 40 years later, on Syracuse University's campus. So I never felt that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do because I was always doing it. I just didn't realize until it was really time to walk the fork in the road, if you will,
Sure.
that, maybe not. Maybe not.
I can see why you do commercials. We'll get to that. I mean, I'm like, wow. Usually I'm the one with the faces. I'm like, this is a complete match. I'm like, whoa, what is this energy? Okay. So you graduate from college.
Yes.
You've decided, I don't want to be a doctor.
Yes.
Want to go back to my initial passion. Is that what you did
That's
immediately
exactly
after college?
what I did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I graduated, I packed up, I moved home, and literally 2 weeks after that, I went right back up to Dance Theater of Harlem, and I enrolled in the professional training program.
Is that right?
2 weeks.
Okay.
I studied in the school for about a year and a half. And then I started working with the professional company. And a year after that, I joined the company, and that was it. I was a professional ballerina at that
A
time.
professional ballerina. So what is that like? I mean, because you had trained, obviously, since you were young, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, there are people who are watching this podcast who might want to do something similar. But there's no real, or maybe there is, pathway to doing something like that. I mean, did you have any concerns about, I mean, you said you were living at home, so obviously
Yes.
that helped. But did you have any concerns about kind of making a living and getting on a really secure kind of track? Was that ever a concern?
No, because Dance Theater of Harlem had a track.
Had a track. Okay.
Right. And most major companies that have schools, that's the track.
Okay.
So you go and you study in the school, and then they usually have a pre-professional company, or a pre-professional company, and then that pre-professional company feeds into the professional company. So for dance theater, it was the ensemble.
Okay.
It was called the ensemble back then. I'm not sure what it's called now, but back then it was the ensemble. So we were all enrolled in the professional training program. Certain students were selected to be in the ensemble, and then from the ensemble, certain ensemble members were then invited to join the professional company. ALE does something very similar. They have what's called ALE 2. And as a matter of fact, the artistic director right now, she and I used to dance together at Dance Theater of Harlem.
Wow.
So you join ALE 2, and then certain members are asked to join the professional company. New York City Ballet does the same thing. American Ballet Theater, ABT, does the same thing. So if you are talking about joining a major company, there is a track.
Okay.
Right.
Even for those who have no background in dancing, you're graduating from college and you decide I want to be a ballerina. I mean, it's not, I would imagine, not quite the same as...
Yeah, that
right?
usually
'Cause you didn't
doesn't
have the
happen.
right.
That
Okay.
usually doesn't
Okay.
happen. By the time you get to college,
Yeah.
if you want to be a professional dancer, you should have already had some sort of training.
You should have danced.
Yeah, at
Right.
somewhere.
Right.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, it's very rare. I will never say never. I have learned to never say never, but it is very rare for someone to become a professional dancer that late. Now, you know, there have been dancers that became professional once they found dance in high school. But usually by the time you get to college or have definitely graduated college, you know, that's probably not what's going to happen for you.
And I would imagine, and I don't know, but your body's also doing different things as you're growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Is it necessarily better to start at a younger age so you can kind of train your body to do
Oh,
what it
sure.
needs to do
Sure.
later on?
It's like being an athlete.
Sure.
It's the same thing.
Right.
I say it all the time. Dancers are athletes. We just don't get paid the millions of dollars that athletes do. But if you look at the career trajectory, they start as kids, they start as children, they go to college for it, they become professionals, they play for maybe 10, 15 years, and then they end up retiring. Dance is very much the same. It's gotten better because technology has gotten better and we know more about our bodies, going back to my reason for being a biologist. But yeah, I mean, it's not the type of thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life professionally. Now, you can teach, you can choreograph, you can direct, you can do, but in terms of being a performer at that level, your body will not allow that.
So it can't be done. I mean, even if you wanted to, I mean, you're going to get pushed out of the professional arena.
For the most part. I mean, like I said, you don't get pushed out of the arena. What you do in the arena shifts. That's what it is. So am I going to strap on a pair of pointe shoes at this point in my life? No, I am not. But I think that my directing, I think that my becoming an actor, certainly my producing, keeps me in the arena. It's just I'm doing something different. What I am doing in the arena shifts.
Can you stand on your tippy toes today?
I probably could. I mean, it's been ever since I put those pointe shoes on.
Really? Yeah.
But I probably could, and then I'd have to ice and Advil and, get a massage and all that other stuff.
Right.
But I'm sure that I could.
You could. So let's talk about the shift. So you went from professional dancing to acting.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So when I left Dance Theater of Harlem, I actually moved to musical theater and Broadway. In between that, though, I did a lot of background work on television shows, movies. Like I was in every Spike Lee movie that was shot in Brooklyn.
Is that right?
In the early 90s.
Okay.
And I didn't realize how instrumental that experience would be later in my acting career. But I I left DTH, as I said. I did some background work, and then I started auditioning for Broadway as a musical theater performer. So I ended up doing 2 Broadway shows, and I did Once Upon a Mattress with Sarah Jessica Parker, and then I was in the Broadway company of The Lion King for about 5 years. And during that time is when I started training in terms of being an actor. Now, if you're a dancer, you're an actor anyway. You just don't use words. Right? All artists tell stories. All artists tell stories, whether they are singing, whether they are saying words, whether they're moving their bodies. All artists tell stories. So the transition for me from dancer to actor was really not that difficult because I had already been telling stories.
That's so interesting. I've never heard that before. I mean, because I've seen maybe a couple ballets. I've seen dancing. I never thought of it as storytelling.
It's storytelling.
Now, is that intentional? Is there some sort of, you guys meet before you go out and dance and you talk about what the intention is, where this is what we're trying to convey, this is the message, or is it more kind of subjective? Is it the people who are in the audience kind of receiving what they think they're...
Well, it depends on what ballet you're talking about.
Okay.
I mean, if you're talking about Giselle, or you're talking about Swan Lake, or you're talking about Sleeping Beauty, there is a story.
There's a story, right?
There's a story to that, right? If you're talking about other ballets that are not as traditional or classic, there are still stories that are told. Any pas de deux is a conversation.
Sure.
Right? So again, making the transition from telling my stories without words to telling my stories with words was not that difficult.
Right. So what kinds of parts did you have when you were working with Spike Lee and you're showing up on...
it was background work. So I didn't have any lines or anything like that. I was the person on a park bench or, whatever. But what it did teach me was the landscape of a set, which I would learn that I needed later, particularly when I started doing commercials, and I am now the lead. I am now the principal, I knew what a second AD did. I knew what a first AD did. I knew what a grip did. I knew, how important hair and makeup and wardrobe is, and to be nice to those people. And, I knew the landscape of a set, and I didn't realize back then how important it was really on the job training, because we made no money. Like, I made $50 a day.
Is that right? Okay.
And I'd be on the set for 12 hours. And it was $50 a day. But that information became invaluable, 10 years later when I'm on national network commercials and, I was navigating a set, and everything is about me. If I'm the only one in the commercial, then it's about me. But you have 50 people behind that camera. Right? And it's really important to know what those people do.
And that skill set was equally as valuable, I imagine, doing musical theater.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, it's about telling stories. It's also about relationships. People want to work with people that make them feel good. Right? And who know what they're doing.
Right.
You got to know what you're doing. But the discipline, the focus, the drive, the ambition, the artistry, whether that is on a Broadway stage or on a television set or in a studio in front of a microphone.
Right.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Now, I know you said you were in the choir when you were in college. When you're doing musical theater, have you ever had any lead parts where you've had to sing alone? I mean, would you...
So it's interesting because right as I was leaving Lion King, I was auditioning to understudy Shenzi, which is a principal role, but I injured my back. And so that actually ended my dance career. It took me out of the show, but it also ended my professional dance career, which again happens, right? How many athletes do we know? You blow out your knee and that's it. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is, again, I had already started acting. I had already started making that transition. It was just a natural progression.
It was seamless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I've talked.
Oh, you asked me about singing and the choir.
Singing,
right. And so professionally, no. But I sing in my choir at church now.
Yeah.
And I sing in an ensemble. And I just sang on Sunday, and it was only 7 of us. And we sounded like a 50 voice choir.
That right.
So again, I'm still doing what I do in all aspects of my life.
It's interesting because my impression of people who are on Broadway or have ended up on Broadway, that's been their dream, right? Their entire life. It's, I want to be on Broadway. But it sounds as if for you, it just sort of was, it just kind of, I don't want to say popped up in your lane, but it just was kind of on your path given the dancing and given, what you had done before. Is that?
Yeah. Like when I left what we call concert dance, which is, the Dance Theater of Harlem, the ALEs, the New York City Ballets. When I left that and I started moving to musical theater, I knew that as an artist, I wanted to expand. And so I knew that I wanted to use my voice, that I wanted to sing because I knew that I could sing. I knew that I wanted to act because I wanted to use my words. I wanted to use my voice. And so it was a natural progression. It really was. I also didn't want to tour anymore. When I was with Dance Theater of Harlem, the year that I got married, I was literally on the road for 40 weeks out of the 52 weeks. Thank God for my husband, who I'm still married to 36 years later.
36 years, wow.
He ended up having to do a lot of the planning because I was traipsing around the world. I mean, literally. We did Europe that year. We did a whole U.S. tour that year. And it was, I just didn't want to be on the road. I still wanted to do what I wanted to do at the highest level because I had already been at the highest level. So why would I not want to transition to the highest level in the next iteration of my art, of my creativity?
Right.
But there were trade-offs in that too. I mean, 8 shows a week is a lot. And I was working the opposite of everybody else's schedule in my life. I worked nights and weekends, right? Everybody else works during the day. They are free nights and weekends. So,
did it feel like work to you?
No.
It didn't feel like work. But it was work. I mean,
gosh, it was work.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were days where it felt like work. I will not.
Right.
Let me take that back. There were some days where it felt like work. But I knew that I was blessed to be able to work in what I loved and what my gift was.
Yeah.
And I know that there are so many people that just don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, because to those of us who are in the audience, and I did...
Civilians, I call you.
Civilians? Is that what you call us? Let me tell you. So when I was in high school, there was some sort of program that we had where we would, and it's probably all because I was New York City Public High School as well. And we got tickets just to go to plays.
Oh yeah, that program still exists.
So I went to a bunch of them. I didn't even value it as much. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't value it as much because I didn't have to pay for the tickets.
Right. You value what you pay for.
Sometimes I left early.
Right.
And it was always exciting to me, but I never thought of it at the time as something that I didn't understand what the attraction was for me in terms of I know now know, but I think about like Starlight Express which was I think it was in the 80s. It was do you remember that?
I do.
Okay, so it
I
was
do.
I don't know if it was off Broadway or on Broadway. Basically, it was
I think it was on Broadway.
was it?
I think it was.
Okay, because it was a show with a bunch of skaters. I don't know what the story was.
Yes.
I just know we lived in an apartment at the time, and I had a pair of roller skates.
Oh, Lord. Please don't tell
Let
me
me
you did
tell you,
something and hurt
it
yourself.
wasn't even. No, I didn't hurt myself.
Okay,
but,
good.
Like I remember one night, my mom was, and this was a small apartment at the time, from what I remember. My dad was in the living room. My mom was like frying chicken in the kitchen, and the kitchen was small.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And I had
I
seen
don't know
Starlight
where this
Express.
is going. Oh, Lord.
No accidents.
Okay,
But I
good,
remember
okay.
putting on the roller skates and just kind of like and going right past my mom in the kitchen, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" But I remember always feeling something like that after seeing. I saw Anna Devere Smith. I think it was called Twilight, and it was a production where she. What do you call those? I mean, when she took on the personalities of it was a one woman show. The personalities of everyone she had interviewed regarding the Rodney King rights.
Yes.
And she was just floored, amazed at how one person can, you know what I mean?
Do all of that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I noticed for me, like the show never ended when the show ended for me. I just kind of took it with me.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
And that's the greatest compliment. Because that, for those of us that do this, that's exactly what we want. We want that experience to not end when you walk out that theater. That is the whole point. You know, now as a producer, you know, when I look at shows that I want to be involved in bringing to the Broadway stage, or, you know, on a tour across the country, I look for stories that are important. I look for stories that tell our story.
Right.
Because if we don't tell our stories, and God knows we are in a fight to keep our stories alive right now, if we don't do them, if we don't tell them, who's going to tell them?
Yeah.
Right? So for you to say that experience does not end when you leave the theater, that it is exactly what we want.
Right. You know, I noticed that and I, if I'm wrong, but based on what I saw, you did a lot of musical theater and you acted in musical theater. You did a lot of that. But when you moved to producing, it was largely on shows centered on kind of like the Black experience.
Absolutely.
And that was intentional in your part.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thoughts of a Colored Man,
Thoughts
which you
of a
were a
Colored
producer
Man.
on.
I was a producer on that. I was a producer on the revival of For Colored Girls. I was a producer on a show called Sugar Hill.
Okay.
Which was, it was actually a Black Nutcracker.
Is that right?
Set to the music of Billy Strayhorn and Duke Ellington. I'm also a producer on Soul Train.
Okay.
Soul Train has been turned into a musical.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
So I was like, is this still on it?
No,
Okay.
it's been
Soul Train the musical.
Soul Train the musical.
Is it out now?
Well, we are waiting for a theater.
Okay.
We did an out-of-town tryout year before last in San Francisco for 5 weeks, which was phenomenal. Completely sold out.
Wow.
For 5 weeks.
Okay.
And brought it back, worked on it a little bit. And, you know, the prayer is that it comes in to Broadway either in the spring or fall of 2026.
What does Soul Train look like on Broadway? I mean, what is that? What is that?
I can't even
Obviously,
tell
there's
you.
dancing, there's music.
Oh my God, this show is so awesome.
Okay.
It tells the story of Don Cornelius.
Of Don Cornelius. So he's the center of the story.
He is the center of the story, but it's not just about him. It's also about the dancers.
The dancers.
Because what would Soul Train be without the dancers?
Right.
Right. And so it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, every creative person on this team has been nominated or have won Tonys. I mean, it's amazing. So you keep your
Oh, I will.
you keep your
I'll be
ear
in that
out
front
for
row now that I know Valencia.
yes, yes,
But
and
you want the front row. Apparently, like it's just too much.
hey, it's too much.
Close.
If don't go
Right.
to when you go to the theater, don't sit in the front row.
Right.
You just
Oh, you
miss
really don't.
everything.
You
Oh
do
my
miss it
God.
because you don't get the whole
I tell
perspective.
people all the time, if you go to the theater, sit in the rear orchestra or the front mezzanine. Because if you don't, if you're so close, you miss what's happening in the back. You need to be able to see the whole picture of what's happening. So if you want to sit in the orchestra, great, but sit in the mid to rear orchestra.
Nice.
But center mezzanine is the best seat.
Center mezzanine. Okay. So
Center mezzanine.
when you
Front mezzanine.
Front mezzanine. So you also have a lot of background in commercials.
Yes.
Now, have you done that while doing has that always been the case, or did you move to commercial acting after leaving dancing?
Yeah. So I booked my first commercial when I was doing Lion King. So, back then I already started making that transition. And then when I injured my back, that was a bad rehab. I went from doing 8 shows a week to not being able to walk on a treadmill for 15 minutes.
That's
so
crazy.
It took me about a year and a half to really get back. And I still have chronic back issues.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. I was sitting on a heating pad this morning. And so what commercials did for me, talking about staying in the arena, what commercials did for me during that time was allowed me to still make a living, but not have the demands on my body and my time that theater had put on me. And so I didn't really fall into it, but I was surprised how quickly I was able to make that transition and really do very well. Then I realized that, I can make the same amount of money doing commercials per year that I could do.
Is that right?
On Broadway, and you do a commercial and you shoot it for a day or two and then you get residuals versus doing 8 shows a week, 50 weeks out of the year. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stay over here. I think I'm gonna stay with the residual income.
Is there a commercial? Because how many commercials would you say you've been in? It was like over 100?
Close to.
Wow. Is there one that sticks out? Because I have one in my mind.
What's the one that you have in your mind?
Which one I have in my mind? You totaled your brand new car. Liberty Mutual. That commercial ran
forever.
Oh my gosh.
It did. That was a blessing.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And were you had you done a lot of commercials before landing that?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the one that you're most known for? Would you say? Okay.
That is the one I'm most known for. But I've done commercials for, I've done a couple of commercials for Colonial Penn.
Yes.
That was actually my last campaign. I've done commercials for Verzenio, for Verizon, for Hotels.com. I also do voiceovers, as well. So I did McDonald's. I don't even remember.
What's fascinating to me about commercials is that you don't get, as far as I can tell, like typecast or anything. It's like, oh, well, that's the Liberty Mutual person, so we can't use her in the Frosted Flakes commercial, and you can't.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. Okay.
So when you book something, they put you on what they call a hold. And that is because of truth in advertising. So if I did a Verizon commercial, I cannot do AT&T, T-Mobile.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So they put me on a hold.
Okay.
And you have conflicts.
Okay.
Right? So doing a Verizon commercial would put me in conflict of doing a T-Mobile or any other phone carrier.
Okay. Forever or just for a period?
No, just for a period of time. Right? So with Liberty Mutual, particularly since I was the Liberty Mutual girl, I absolutely couldn't do Allstate or
Sure.
Progressive or
Right.
like they had me on hold. Every other insurance company. And because that campaign got so big, at first it was just auto insurance. Then when they, what we call re-up me, then they added all insurance.
So you can do for
So because I did Liberty Mutual and it was an auto insurance, I still couldn't do like.
Oh, it further restricted you. You couldn't.
It further restricted me for any other insurance while the campaign is running. Once the campaign is over, they release you. You could do what you want. But yeah, you. It's called a conflict. And as long as they are holding you for that conflict, then you can't do any other. You can't do a competing company.
When we talked on the phone, I guess you could call it a pre-interview, I had mentioned to you that I saw you in another podcast. I think it was called In the Whip.
Oh, In the Whip.
In the Whip with a friend of yours.
Yes, Andre Blake. Shout out to Andre Blake. Absolutely.
And you talked about the importance of always learning. I guess it was mastering your craft, but it's also always learning. Like, what level of importance do you put on that? Because a lot of people seem to think that they can just kind of get out there and do what you do.
And it drives me crazy.
And it drives you crazy.
It absolutely drives me crazy. So when I, while I was in the thick of doing commercials, and I still do them, you know, like I said, I just got released. I auditioned for something and I didn't book it. You know, I got released just yesterday. So I'm still auditioning.
What does that mean when you say?
Okay, so when you audition for something, you know, when I was talking about the hold, when you audition for something, that's when they hold you. They start holding you for that thing, and if they book you, then that hold continues.
Okay.
If you don't book it, then they release you.
Okay.
Right. So basically, I didn't get the job.
Right.
That's a long way of saying I didn't get the gig.
Right.
Right. But there was a time when I still coach, but it was a time where I was really doing structured classes because people would come to me all the time and say, you know, I see you on TV every day. You know, I was thinking about doing this. And what do you suggest? I say, first thing that you need to do is take a class.
First thing you need to do.
First thing. I mean, would you want to go to an accountant who never who never took accounting classes?
Right, right.
Now, I'm not saying that what we do is as important as, you know, your financial future, but don't dismiss what I do.
Sure.
This is an art. This is a skill. And the reason that you think it's so easy is because I'm really good at what I do. My job is to make you think and make it look like it's easy. But trust me, there are hours, there are months and years that I have been in acting class, in voice classes, in movement classes, right? Writing every morning, journaling. This stuff takes focus. So you went to school to learn whatever it is that you do. Don't dismiss what I do because I make it look good, because I make it look easy. So if you want to come over to this world, then you need to take a class because that class will tell you whether or not
you want to actually come over.
You want to actually do this or not.
Yeah. How often do you run into people who just kind of want to do what you do?
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. Because you're very visible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You look annoyed at the fact
because it's a little annoying.
I know.
But I get it.
No,
I get it. And you know, and in this age of social media, which is another shift that I'm making, you know, in this age of social media, you know, like anybody can be a star now. Because
and write papers. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I get it, but
But it's interesting because in many ways, that's true, right? Anyone can become a star.
Anyone
It-
can become a star.
Anyone can become known.
That doesn't mean that you're an artist.
That doesn't mean you're an artist, right?
Right? That doesn't mean that you're a good actor. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can sing. Although I will say that the new world that we live in has leveled the playing field in a certain way, right? Because just like any other industry, there are gatekeepers to this, right? The directors, producers, casting directors, they're all gatekeepers. And what social media has allowed is to get around the gatekeepers, and so there are some people who have used their social media platform and did very well, and they are talented. They are,
Okay.
But
I imagine there are also a lot of people who aren't talented, but because of the notoriety, and they just kind of, I won't name names, but that happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the world is very, very different. I mean, we have access to everything. We have access to everything and everybody in a way that we didn't before. And for those of us that are of a certain age and have come through a certain system, making that shift, frankly, has been difficult sometimes. I remember I was going in to meet with managers, or it was a new manager that we were talking. And I mean, this was like maybe 15, 20 years ago, maybe, when social media was just starting, and I remember, they wanted to know what my experience was, and they wanted to know how many shows and who I studied with and everything, but they also wanted to know how many followers I had. And I was like, that's a weird question. Now, that's the first thing that people want to know. Well, how many followers do you have? And then after that, well, what's your training? What's your experiences? And you don't have to have any,
Is that true of, like, if I wanted to be in Soul Train and I don't have any acting background, right? I mean, is it still rare that you can end up on a Broadway production and not have that kind of training, the kind of background, the kind of discipline that you've had? Is this, or is it
so rare, but it does happen.
It does happen. Wow.
It does happen. And some of these people are good.
Are good, sure. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you still have to be good, whether you are known or not, right? Whether you have experience or you just have raw talent, you still have to be good. You still got to be able to do it 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
You still have to be, I mean, at the end of the day, it don't matter how you got there. If you don't bring it when that curtain goes up 8 shows a week.
It's a lot of stamina.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So you talked about making another transition?
Another shift.
Another shift.
Yeah.
And so what is that shift and why?
Well, it's interesting because of the fact that, this whole AI, digital media, social selling, if you look at it, everybody is doing it. Everybody is doing it. Everybody is in some way sharing their life, their business, their vision, their political point of view, their whatever on social media. Some people have figured out a way to monetize that, and some people have not. And for me, I was very resistant to it, particularly because as an actor, the last 2 strikes that happened in the industry centered on AI, taking our jobs, particularly as a voiceover artist. Now artificial intelligence can do the things that I do. And that's been happening for a long time.
Wow.
How many times have you called the telephone company or any other company and you are speaking to a bot? You are not speaking to a body. Right?
It's not the same though. But
it
is. Okay.
It is. I mean, Siri, whoever, Alexa, whatever. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Right? So I've got to the point now where I'm like, well, if I can't beat them, let me join them, right? In a responsible way, though. In a responsible way. And what I have found is actually a product that is kind of a school that can teach you how to monetize what you are already doing on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. And, I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but if anybody is interested, they can go to my website, which is valenciayearwoodonline.com, and get some information. But it's really interesting because it's a product that I didn't have to create.
Okay.
Right? I didn't have to create the school. I didn't have to. It's just a product that because I own it, I now have the right to resell it. And it actually is a course that teaches you how to do all this, how to, overlay and do all of these carousels and, and do the things that people are doing online. And, it's, I'm kind of excited about it because if you follow a lot of these entrepreneurs who are always forward thinking, everybody is saying that digital marketing and social selling is the next wave. It is really the next wave. And if it's something that we're doing anyway, then why not, figure out a way to let it be. Take advantage of it and position yourself so that, the people that I have been following, the couple, they're Stephen Pasha Carter, who are out of Dallas. I've been following them for a long time. Great entrepreneurs, wonderful people, have made millions of dollars over the years. And they were like, look, you should take a look at this, and they have coaching and all of that other stuff. It's a great community. And it's just like, yeah, well, if this is what we're doing anyway, why not position ourselves to take advantage of it? And because of the fact that it's so accessible, because there are not the type of gatekeepers that I was talking about, there are billions of people worldwide on the internet. It's the World Wide Web, the World Wide Web. Right. And so if you could just get a little piece of that, then why not? Absolutely. Yeah. Will it be what I do primarily? Probably not, because I'm still an artist. I'm still a producer. I still do what I do. But even doing this will help promote my products.
Right.
My projects is what I meant to say. Will help promote my projects. It will help promote my world vision. It will help promote my artistry and what I do and why it is important that I do it. It'll help promote and preserve our stories because, again, our stories are being erased intentionally. And if we're not intentional about fighting that.
You mentioned that earlier about our stories being erased, and you're passionate about that.
I'm very passionate about it.
And in what way is that happening? And how do you counter that?
Well, anytime that you are talking about books being banned, anytime you are talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion being erased and being couched in a way that is harmful to society. Anytime that you have alternative facts, anytime education is attacked, free speech.
Right.
You have to be asleep 24/7 in order for you not to know what's going on.
But I think people have this, or at least I do have the sense that in terms of artistry, in terms of Broadway, in terms of commercials, in terms of, producing, that's not necessarily being affected by this
so not true.
Speech suppression movement. That's not the case.
Anytime that you are trying to revise history, the people that have the platforms are the ones that are attacked first. So you talk about comedians, you talk about artists, you talk about educators, you talk about journalists. So of course, it affects the types of movies that get greenlit, the type of shows that get theaters, the type of music that can be released. So to think that being an artist over here is different from what's happening. The artists are the ones that tell the stories. The artists are the ones that tell you what has happened. I mean, how many documentaries have you looked at, or how many movies have you gone to that were based on true stories, and you're like, wow, I never knew that happened.
Mm.
That's our job. To tell stories. It goes back to what I was saying about being an artist, whether you tell stories through movement, or you tell stories through music, or you tell stories through words. That's what we do.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be inspirational, that what I did inspired people to live authentically, whatever that means for them. I want my legacy, I'm a Christian, so I want my legacy to be that when people look at me, they see God working through me to help them get to whatever their purpose is. And if that's through a commercial, if that's through producing a show, if that's through helping somebody, create a platform on the internet, if that is through bringing somebody to Christ, whatever that is, that's what I want my legacy to be.
For people who want to follow you on social media, I know you mentioned ValenciaYearwoodOnline.com.
Yes.
Where else can they find you, and how do they, if they can, get in touch with you?
Oh, yeah, they can. So, yes, ValenciaYearwoodOnline.com. If you're interested in the whole social media, digital marketing thing, ValenciaYearwood.com is my official website. Valencia Yearwood on all socials, Facebook, Instagram. I just joined TikTok, so give me some.
Did you really?
Yes.
That's fun.
Give me a moment on TikTok. So Facebook, LinkedIn, it's all Valencia Yearwood.
Awesome. Valencia Yearwood.
It's easy. It's easy. I try to make my life easy.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Sergio.
And thank you for watching Frolic and Detour podcast. We really appreciate your support. Please check us out at frolicanddetourpodcast.com, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And thanks for watching.